All righty.
We have launched.
Welcome, everybody. We are excited to be here for Planet Green Trees, episode number 403. We're calling it Bill Schuette is Off Duty because it is the first Planet Green Trees radio show ever where a law has been passed, not yet in effect, but has been passed that reflects that the majority of voting citizens in the state of Michigan believe adults should not be arrested anymore for consumption of cannabis possession. Yes.
That's right. And it was all Jamie Lowell.
Mainly,
We're going to
mainly
debate that
me.
later. We're going to debate that
100%
later because
me.
Big Daddy Rick Thompson.
100%.
We're going to talk
Yes,
about the other 1% here during the show.
I like it when you call me Big Daddy. I'm just going to say it. I like it when you call me Big Daddy.
We're going to have to explain that because there's a bunch of funny stories. And you know what we should? We're going to tell funny stories and we're going to
Picturing you and
celebrate.
Big Daddy
And we're going to
calling
talk
out to
about how the losers lost in a very polite and civilized way, but, you know, mockingly and,
Fuck
and
Bill Schuette.
sarcastic,
Fuck Bill Schuette.
politely, and with
Hashtag FBS.
satire. We're use satire to express our opinions instead
We're
of.
fucking Bill Schuette right now.
Fuck Bill Schuette.
Fuck Bill
And
Schuette.
as we do this, and some of the people who will add to this comedy, let me
pretty
introduce the community entertainment of satire, especially tonight.
This is
First, let's start-
entertainment, yeah.
Start with our board runner over there, and the champion of the hashtag FBS. Please welcome Jim Powers.
Fuck Bill Schuette.
Way to go, Jim.
Jim Powers. We all, unless I could do a 90-minute introduction for everyone and their credentials in terms of like what the fucking road they've traveled that contributed to this overall cause. I'm going to hold off on that.
Just be getting warmed up for someone
Yeah.
else.
And right,
I mean,
that'd be
Jamie's pretty old, so that explains that.
Yes, he is.
And moving around the room, and what I'm going to do is after we introduce everyone, we're going to come back and let everybody brag about themselves and their contributions. But for right now, we're going to got Deborah Young. Please welcome.
Fuck Bill Schuette.
Yeah. Fuck Bill Schuette.
We have the Christine here from Botanic, and of course our favorite guest here at Planet Green Trees. Please welcome Christine. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to participate in Fuck Bill Schuette.
There you go.
Yeah. Fuck
Bill
Schuette.
Fuck Bill.
That's an exciting story, though. Your employee, and we love Q, and we're so happy that.
Can you pronounce the name right? Michael, you're the only one who got the name right.
What-
I got to say that Rick and Jamie mispronounced it over and over and over again.
Rick was practicing on the way
Rick
down.
practiced.
Rhymes with Titanic.
So we ended up calling it
So-
Q's Place. You got it right.
Q's place.
Q's Place.
Q's place.
Q's joint.
Okay.
Q's joint. That's fair. Seems better. Yeah.
But we love her, and I'm so glad that and that you know, it looked like a great place, didn't it? It's like the photo shoot, and the
Oh,
interior, and
awesome.
it's just
Yeah.
all, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so now we've got the big shot here. Well, let me do it. We got the super big shot. He's wearing his lucky hat. I thought he wore that hat when he was not in a good mood, but it seems to have changed. But he is arguably solely responsible for all the good things about marijuana that ever happened in the state of Michigan,
That's true.
without debate. He's,
100%.
The women
It's
are
not quite
lining
that
up.
extreme. It's just that you can extrapolate my part in anything that's
I go as
positive
far
that's
as
ever
to say.
taken place with cannabis.
No introduction.
So
could be-
humble. So humble.
Could be less
What a guy.
than to say Jamie Lowell's here.
Yeah, Jay.
Hello. And of course, fuck Bill Schuette.
Fuck Bill Schuette. Yeah.
As we move around the room, we have my dear friend and champion of the battle here that we've all been involved in. Please welcome my good friend and scratch golfer and soon-to-be Champions Tour champion, Jay Van Dyke.
Hey, Michael. Thank you.
He says
Off
hi.
duty is Bill Schuette.
And he essentially said fuck Bill Schuette.
He said it. He said it before we went on air. So.
And my compadre in crime over there, the internationally renowned lawyer and guitar aficionado and iguana lover. Please welcome Jeff Frazier.
Hello. Way to go, Michigan. The women stepped up.
Hell yeah.
Yes, we did.
Say fuck Bill Schuette in Spanish.
He
Thank
won.
you, Jeanette, for bringing me to Michigan. And que Bill Schuette me mama la verga.
See.
That was sexy.
Yeah, it was.
Wait, can you say that in slow motion?
Do that again.
Slower.
He's still in the house, so we gotta be careful. You know, just camera.
No,
No,
he
um,
slunk out.
And then, of course, the also like the other debate. Like, there's two like championship belts of who was solely responsible for championing legalization. I know that in the story goes that my encounters with a certain sheriff in a certain county after him just torturing people, sometime in a hallway told me that Rick Thompson guy is behind this whole thing. He's the gang leader in all of this. So I want to introduce it. And that picture of him like on one of the in the news.
If the tights fit.
The tights fit.
Big Daddy.
The picture as he stood there
So tight.
with the announcements giving the play-by-play at Cannabis Council, the aura. It may be true.
Had
The-
Ben's
the-
cartoon picture of him on file.
the man that brought. There's no other. They cannot be introduced. Big Daddy, Rick Thompson.
There.
Thank you very much.
I know that's it.
Let us say this. Stroke Bill Schuette softly while fucking Bill Schuette.
Oh.
And the man himself, the host with the most, MK, K-Man, hero of the people, Michael Gamora.
Thanks. Okay, good
That
stuff.
means
Good
you're
stuff.
supposed to kiss when I do that, Rick. You're supposed to kiss Michael when I do that.
No, I don't think so.
Sorry.
He's only
Velcro
softly,
mustaches together.
gently Bill Schuette. That's what he's only it's limited.
You can't put two beards of our magnitude together. It would just cause friction. So, you know.
So what are we doing tonight? So we
Isn't
got
that the whole
so a
idea?
couple quick shout outs. We got Josh Colton's in the area somewhere, and I want to give a shout out to my Dewey, as Pam, of course.
Earl Carruthers is back.
Earl Carruthers is here.
Earl.
He is.
You ever heard of this brownie case? Yes, it's still going on.
Hey, we saw Bob Redden the other night, which was awesome.
Yeah,
Bob
Bob.
Redden
Yeah.
looked phenomenal. He's like an athlete now. He's like a world class athlete, like training for the veteran, like a veterans sports team or something.
Oh,
like
good
that.
for him, man.
He could beat up Mike Bouchard now. What?
Oh, yeah.
Oakland County
That'd
Sheriff.
Karate
be, that'd
chop.
be a match.
Goes
Only-
down
only
to
if you allow-
72-year-old.
Only if they allowed tap outs, probably, but otherwise. it'll be-
Who's
So
gonna tap
That's
that?
awesome. That's so fun.
calling this 403 Bill Schuette is off duty. I mean, there's so much to talk about. We should probably try to keep it to some kind of I don't know. We'd have to organize it, but like, all right. So it passed. The Prop
It-
1 passed. Is that right? Did I
it-
understand that what happened the other night?
It
Was that true?
passed.
Okay.
56%? Is that the official
Now-
total?
Almost 56.
Let's talk about
Almost
some of the
57.
interesting facts, like on the voting scale, because like last time, I just always love saying every fucking county, voted in favor.
I
But there
know,
was the one that was,
It's a good tool.
there was every single county, 82
Yeah.
counties, they all
Not
voted in favor.
not the
Right.
case.
Now
this
just
time.
the
Not the
asshole
case.
counties.
Not the-
So
yeah.
we know that now. What is important though is that despite what there's some counties that did not vote in favor, right? We know that.
a bunch of them.
A bunch of them.
Let's-
Up
let's-
north, little shit counties we don't care about.
Wow.
That's correct.
Hey, come
I'm
on.
kidding.
Well, you make a good point because as you go through and scroll through those same, and I'll
My
call
family
them what they
members
call
in some
these
of those
little
counties.
shit counties, whatever they're, that all voted for Tom Leonard.
They
Right.
did.
It
They
was
did.
like- it was
Except for
six-
Benzie County. Reverend Steve rocked them out up
Did
north
they?
in Reverend Steve. They
Okay.
they voted for Dana.
Macomb
and they
County
voted
voted
yes.
for Tom
Yeah.
Leonard, which was
No, they voted for Dana, but that
unfortunate.
was strictly our people pumping the.
Yes,
the,
unequivocally. My point was that as you went through and saw,
Yeah, the rest of them.
it was the counties. It's like 82 counties, and each one of them like 800
83.
votes for Leonard, 500 for Nessel. 55% to whatever. And it was like that A through until you got down to like.
To
What
the
was the
re-
first
to the
one?
real.
Well,
The real
he was
counties.
beating her
Ingham-
until they
Ingham-
got to the Democratic
Right.
friendly,
No, I'm
highly
saying
popular.
the
Going
larger
through the
counties,
A's
right.
and the B's,
Yeah.
they were but so it was.
But they
Yeah,
were
Washtenaw
first.
and Wayne are in the W,
Yes.
so it took
I
a
know,
while
that's
to
what
get
I'm
there.
saying.
And Oakland, too.
And the point is,
Right.
those
Is down.
counties had so many more votes that they
Right.
chewed up,
Right.
swallowed,
Of course, and it took them longer to
spit out
report.
those other votes, right? But it's like you read through, like this kind of is like 2,000 voters. This one's got
Exactly.
4,000, and they're losing it 60% or whatever. But then you get down to the other one, it's like that same percentage is going in Dana's favor, 64% to whatever is the difference of like 300,000 votes or something like that. They made it right, that kind of stuff.
And that's why we don't vote county by county. We vote by total population because
Exactly.
Right.
you can't. It's not 83 evenly divided county spaces.
Right.
It is a popular election and popular
Right.
vote. It is not based
No
on
electoral
some
college or anything
right.
crazy crap
Thank
like that.
goodness.
Yeah.
One person, one vote at all counts.
Just gerrymandered districts.
And
that's all.
traditionally, I mean,
Hey, they're not going to be next time.
the,
Yeah,
the-
that's
the-
right.
The only thing that keeping me, because we all were going through that the night of. I mean, even though, I mean, we're talking about Prop 1, of course, but
But the whole
I don't know that there was ever a time until, I went to bed that night late thinking that Dana won, right?
It-
We all
she-
did, but there wasn't a concession
It
till the
needed
next
to
day.
be
No,
formally recognized
right.
to feel
And
totally good
he
about
didn't
it. for sure.
concede
Till
until
the next
noon the
day.
next
I
day.
know.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I know.
So yeah, but not only did Prop 1 pass, but the decision makers surrounding it to
I
help
know,
implement it
but what I'm
properly will.
saying is, what was I saying?
It was a very nervous evening.
Yeah.
It was a
right?
nervous evening in regards to Dana, and as
Only
we
that-
saw
only Dana's part,
the
yeah.
elections
Yeah.
coming in the other states, the smaller states, in smaller counties, they're able to count and get them in, were totally against her, and there was a huge behind the eight ball when the night started. It was very distressing. But as the major, I kept telling myself, well, the elections in Michigan are usually determined by Wayne,
there was,
13th and 14th district,
Yeah,
Wayne County, and
Oakland County.
You know, I think you know.
Yeah.
I mean, and we had Rick Michaels on Jazz Cabbage Cafe a couple weeks ago. There was $5.5 to $6 million dumped in the last few days of the campaign to help out Tom Leonard.
They felt it was their only chance. The Republicans.
So
they knew
they
lost everything.
gave it a shot, and things drew pretty close before it was all over with. But hey,
that's true.
it ended up in the right way. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up on that one thing that you said about Rick Michaels. I had that same conversation with him when we were at that fundraiser,
Right.
and you'd say like, well, how can that be effective, right? Like, the last, and he brought this to my attention, that when you see these ads and all the money that's dumped into it, they don't do it unless they think it's going to have an impact. That's number one. And if you think about what is actually taking place, it means that in the last weeks before the election, there are people that are undecided.
many,
Who are these people?
I can't imagine either.
Who are they?
How do you
most.
I don't know about that.
Maybe on Attorney General, not on the proposition.
Ah.
Well, let's say this about
People
Prop
didn't
1.
know the names on the Attorney General. That was the problem.
Well, let's say about Prop 1 is that we saw in the last week a huge number of donations from Dow Chemical executives, from Meyer executives, from executives around.
DTE.
And
Didn't
these are-
even
I don't think it
touch
did anything to it.
It didn't, but what Michael's saying is that people don't give money unless they think there's a chance. So
Yeah.
who is it that convinced those people, those corporate
Scott Greenlee,
entities, that they
yeah.
had a chance and they should put their money there instead of in Bill Schuette's camp?
Well, because they
Well, we
had
knew that. I
they
think- I
had
think-
studies, and
right,
remember, we were standing around, and one of our colleagues came up to us to Deb and I, and was telling us that Target Insights, Ed Saropoulos had approached her and said that we were going to lose,
Right.
and that exit polling had shown it at 46%. And if you recall, Target Insight, I believe, were the ones that conducted the polls directly for HPM.
Correct.
Yep.
So you feed these people this bad data, and they say, oh, there's a chance, and they give. And it's just part of their overall scam, right? These guys are just, carpetbaggers to their core that are coming here. They want to make a buck,
It's a paycheck.
and that's it.
Well,
This
and-
is
And they're going to move on to another state.
Yeah.
The same guys. They're going to turn up somewhere
well,
else.
Greenlee is a Michigan guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
they had
not
to
gonna
recruit a
stop
local
him.
guy.
That's
Like
not going to
Randy
stop him.
Ridgeville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this anti-organization and their presence that still remains in the state in a second. The one point I wanted to finish with on this was, even outside of what's going on here, the idea that a party would take $5 million and know that it is,
What is that?
I don't know what's that,
I know what it looks like.
It is a Sour
Patch Kid.
Patch Kid appendage.
It looks like a sour
Put
catch
it away,
penis.
Jimmy. It's not
It's a
appropriate.
penis with blue balls.
Put it
Come on.
away.
Really? Yeah. It looks like an uncircumcised penis with blue balls.
I know that whatever point I was going to make is
are you
clearly not
discriminating?
as entertaining as drawing attention to that.
This is unusual, Michael.
It's
We're just
radio, though,
We're
Mike,
very
so-
flippant and happy today. We apologize. We
really
apologize
are.
for Jamie's behavior.
Demerits.
Yeah,
okay.
the other show, this is where we would go immediately, but we never do that here.
I'm putting Jamie on double secret probation.
I've been there. It's a cold place, man. It's a cold place.
Looked like it came off his dog, maybe. That's how I was worried.
Oh, she's a female, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, man. That's, don't judge.
Not-
If
Now
we're
he's
making
talking
fun
shit
of it,
about
we're having a
Sita.
good time. Come on,
Don't
I get it.
judge. Dogs can be
Sarcastic
that way.
Mike.
I think
come on,
Sherman would be proud to have that thing.
It's radio. All right. My final point before we talk about the spoils of victory is generally in the election, the idea that amount of money, right, is being used because they think it's going to have an impact. It didn't, but that's not the point. But that they are appealing to this segment of the population that's undecided.
Well, didn't
The-
they? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead now. Well, I was going to say, this group of people that we're talking about that are undecided are the most uninformed people that exist. They don't know what the hell's going on. They haven't made up their
They're
mind in the last 3
cretins.
weeks.
It's like 80% of the population.
They're deplorable cretins.
They're so misinformed that the worst of the worst propaganda
Yes.
is effective in swaying them that has nothing to do with the truthful issues. This is the travesty that exists in the world. First of all, where do they get $5 million to put into TV ads? What kind of crazy world are we doing to put that garbage on TV to try to lie to the voters to motivate them to voting. I mean, like first of all, that is just it's insane from a economic and priority sharing. That's number
Right.
one, and number two, the idea that the election could be swung by the propaganda that would influence a small group of people. First of all, it's not. It didn't have an effect. It didn't have an effect. Am I right?
Well, she won, but it became really close.
Oh,
So,
yes.
so there's probably some targets there besides just the last minute people who mindlessly look to see who's got the flashiest ads. There's certain demographic they targeted as being undecided or that was on the fence in some way, and was
I
successful
understand.
in getting a few of those probably.
Right. And I will. And my point is that's a tragedy. And number two is think of it in the greater scheme. Think of like a general election. The types of ads that come out, when there's, like down the stretch. I mean, you usually don't see judges' ads. I saw a few times. But as these things come out, it is truly like the greatest form of propaganda trying to sway the most uninformed voter on, imagery that has nothing to do with an issue that is just, it's total, it's like, it's the lowest common denominator. And my main point was that money is invested knowing that it is going to impact an election. And that is what's troubling to me, that you've got this, you could do everything you can, work or whatever, and then there's all of a sudden at the end of the line, there's
Yes.
2 to 3% that don't know what they're doing, and whatever you've done to get the message out, they happen to watch a TV show, in the middle.
The Koch brothers drop a couple mil, and all of a
Right,
sudden the
that's what I'm
election's
saying.
skewed.
I don't know. I think maybe people like that aren't voting anyway.
No, they are. It's name recognition, and
name
that's
recognition.
all. That's 90% of it, right? And that's why Andy Levin skated to victory in our congressional
He
district.
would have done anyway. He would have skated anyway if you listen to him. I mean, he hits all the right points for
I
Democratic
guess,
audience.
but
For
if
a
he's
he does
Sandra
for
Levin's
Democratic-
boy,
I know,
I
but,
mean-
but
First of all,
he does.
can we talk for a second? I want to talk about the losers in a minute, but let's talk about the greatest winner of all time, Dana
He's
Nessel.
a friend of the show.
I mean, what kind
No,
of
I know he is.
class
I know.
do you have to carry in order not to go to the low level that they tried to drag her down to? I mean, do you know, first of all, it's hard when people are shitting on you to not punch back. But she took the high road in such a classy way, and it just makes me want to say, fuck them!
I'll say
Fuck them and
the
Bill
dangerous
shooting.
the
And shooting.
dangerous Dana
We gotta
TV
edit that.
campaign
Edit that.
really did work.
Super.
It had resonance. It was effective. It got that very musical kind of a dangerous Dana thing out there.
Proof that we have a bunch of morons.
I would agree, but it's proof positive of what Michael was just saying, that if you
I
have
agree.
enough money and a good marketing plan, you can skew an election,
Yeah, you can.
regardless of what the facts are. So they took some crap about some case from 2002 or whatever and tried to make that relevant to today's election. And that's what money buys you. Our system allows it.
Let's complain also, because the thing that came up, we got the police influencing the election, which is insane. Not only that, passing false facts, which is,
Uniform police
we can talk about
officers.
that. And,
Are we still on Dana here for a second?
well, we're talking about the shit show on the other side. Keep going. Yeah, let's talk
Okay.
Dana, good stuff.
Let me just take the opportunity now to say that myself and Ryan Baser had the opportunity to have a little discussion with Dana earlier today. And obviously things just happened, and she's getting things ready for her taking over office officially. But one of the things she imparted to us was to make sure that we let people know that she is planning on keeping all of her campaign promises for the cannabis community, and that she completely realizes how instrumental we were in her success. And
It's
I
nice
can-
to
she
get that
throws out Michael's name in particular as being a part of that. But of course, many of us did do that. Michael did extra, and a couple people did. But she understands that the convention for the nomination, and there's a lot of this process had a lot to do with us, and she just wants to make it clear that is still going to go as promised. And I thought that was great.
I agree 100%. I've had some contacts with you. I could concur with all that, Jimmy. It's nice to hear that. I know there's going to be challenges for her because there's a lot of change, but I think that she's got, her danger now is going to be their nightmare.
I like
Now-
how she turns it around.
No,
though.
now we're going to show you why I'm called Dangerous Dana.
Yeah. But the reality is, if you are someone that fears change, she represents drastic change. She's changed to the
Like
old boy
Garth?
network, changed to the Republican domination. challenge to even her orientation is different from what we've seen before, and as part of a group of women that are going to be in charge now of the state, more so than they were before, she does represent change. And if you fear that, she's probably your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
The groups that have been, I mean, I would say most picked on. Obviously, we could all, I used to say vegans are the most picked on, but that's a sad point. But the
Because they eat birdseed.
They're
all right,
not
listen.
people.
I'm
They're
saying,
not
listen.
people.
I'm saying like the cannabis you could find. It's a obviously a racist policy that's based upon political nonsense, and all the victims of that. In the way the government's gone about it, that's the idea is that she sees them as being the ones that carried her across the line. There's something beautiful about that. And then of course, the gay community likewise beat on, subhuman and treated by the the law, and it's a work of art in a historic kind of way that it the joining of those groups were enough to to make it happen at the convention. As I like to say, that takeover was one of the greatest experiences that you could have as I think in the democratic process, watching it unfold, the old guard be taken out against their will, and
Oh, they were pissed.
They were pissed. They
Hey, Miles and company threw the kitchen sink at her. Everything and the kitchen sink, man.
Including the religious groups, including old legislators from long ago.
Well-known politicians, very influential people.
They dared to bring in these last weeks the ACLU.
And then,
Remember
and
this?
then Dana's
I mean, so no, the NAACP.
Yeah.
and then
NAACP.
Dana's mother-in-law, just by herself, does her nomination
It just kicks ass.
speech, and it was just so moving. Yeah, it was so awesome, man. And that's the first time Dana's name was mentioned up to that point, and the crowd just went nuts. Everybody in unison.
We had been chanting Dana, Dana, even when we weren't supposed to be chanting.
At the
Dana.
convention, because they were like, they're trying
Man, yeah, that was an intense day. Quite awesome.
She's had to endure a lot of shit. I mean, it's been a
Right.
lot. Like in
Look, female candidates have it tough right now. Female LGBT candidates have it doubly tough. Tons of hate poured on her.
Well,
And
they've
she's
shown a lot
and
of
she's
love,
a
though.
progressive.
I know.
Yeah, a lot of women made it in though this time around, so a lot of people have woken up a little bit, and hopefully now this change will it's at least for sure not what we've had, and so I'm looking forward to that.
well, this may be a time to take a break. I don't know, or because I do want to
Yeah, we can take a break.
come back and talk about a couple things. One is, Rick's going to do an announcement about something in a second. But
Robin's going to call in a few minutes too.
It'll be a quick break. It'll be fine.
all right, but I do want to identify what we're going to talk about. One is there seems to be some residual war efforts. Like they don't realize that they lost. And they got to get out of town. There's Greenleaf still hanging around.
Because they're still funding.
They're just talking shit. As soon as the money goes away, which it will.
Prosecutor
Most of the time, when there's a takeover, they don't get to keep talking shit. You know what I mean? Usually, there's like they're either locked up, assassinated, or they force them to marry into your own. One of the three. That's usually what happens, right? I mean, Jeff, am I right? Historically, those are the
That's how they
different
did on
leaders have done it
Galapagos,
differently. Different leaders. Romans, they were like integrators, and like the Ottomans, and they would say they're not so much. Take you out and kill you if you didn't cooperate. But anyways, these are the different ways to do it. But what are we doing? How are they still running around flapping off their mouths? What kind of crap are they going with now? They're trying to work with local communities to tell them what.
It's
Here's
their
the thing.
right. It's their right. It's not like they're going to sway anybody. Look what a great job they did swaying the general
That's
public.
true. That's true. You know why? Because if they can sling that shit at Dana is so evil and twisted and really great levels and appealing to the worst sickenings of the human spirit. Like, that whole thing, the connection of that it's evil.
Plus, he
Evil.
doesn't know what he's talking about. He
But
clearly
it didn't
hasn't.
matter. It didn't matter.
He-
Like, the shit's up.
He
Like,
hasn't
that
even
lying
read.
crap-
He hasn't read the petition.
if
You
you
hear
have
him
a good-
talking about telling communities how to opt out.
Yeah, if you have a good story, it
Yes,
doesn't
that's
matter.
what they're going to try. That's what they're going to do.
A
They're
good
gonna go
story
around, try
wins
to
out over
convince
five.
I'm saying, think about this.
No,
Think
but
about-
my
listen,
point is they don't
how many
have to opt
communities-
out.
How
They-
many communities or leaders were like, we're in favor of this, let's go? None, right? They're all out there spewing fear. How many community leaders, the merits by, or the basis by which they were advertising not to vote for Dana, it wasn't based on merits, it's based on, personality, like, anti-women kind of accoutrements, things associated with all the worst kind of stereotypes that one could think of and dream of, and they're kind of imputing that into the right. That's what they're trying to appeal to, like dangerous, blah blah whatever. Despite all of that, the leadership telling their communities that the world is going to come to an end, and as Jim was just pointing to, the sky's going to start to fall. Is that what you're doing? The sky's going to start falling.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They're
No.
telling them that, you know what the people said? We don't believe you.
Right.
The gig is up.
No
That shit about
credibility.
Dana, we don't believe you.
No.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
No.
Who's going to do better, Bill Schuette? Because this show is officially called what? Bill Schuette is off duty.
Off duty.
All right.
Relieved.
Took us 403
AKA
episodes.
fuck Bill
Relieved.
Schuette.
And 150 of the first round. It's 500 and whatever.
And we mention his
And we
name every
fuck
week.
every single
every
one.
week.
Every single one. What are we going to talk about now?
Fuck, but we can
gotta go
still-
get
we can
some
still talk about
content.
him.
We got plenty to talk
Fuck
about.
Bill
Hemp. We're going
Schuette.
to talk about hemp. That's right.
All right, we got to take a break.
I'll take a quick break. I'm in charge of the music this time.
Yeah,
Put on
that's
some,
fine.
Dylan and his.
Yeah,
his-
I knew you
Jesus
would.
Dylan.
Call in
Jesus
numbers
Dylan.
224-803-3098. You're listening to Planet Green Trees.